Saturday. I don't even know the date. I think it's the 13th. And we're going to be talking about what I'm always talking about, speaking. And I got my little handy dandy Instagram going on over here. And I got Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube going on over here. So what's that? Ness, what's up? How you doing? JP, what's up? Boom, boom, boom. MS Beth, how you doing? We're going to be talking about some speaking stuff, up-leveling your speaking, and just the confidence that you're bringing to your speaking. As soon as you walk into the room, do people feel your energy? So I'm going to give people a few moments to log on. See, good morning from Vegas. This is where I heard you speak. Oh, okay. What's up, Vegas? Is it still hot out there? Because I know, man, the summertime, it is burning up. Let's see, August, September. It's probably still warm, but you're getting some cool days in there, right? So now my mom just popped up, and I know I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. So, hey, Mom. Hopefully she'll log on to Facebook. Hey, Samantha, what's up? Oh, so good. Sharice, oh my God, there's my niece. What's up, girl? How you doing? I'm just out here chatting with you and you and you and you. Pause due to poor connection. My phone just said pause due to poor connection, and I know I have a gig upload and download with ATU verse, so that has to be crazy. Miss Beth, not too hot anymore, thankfully. Okay, so she's out in Vegas, you guys. Oh my God! All right, Mom. Let's see if I can put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I know. All right, I'm back. Got around, just popped in to say you're awesome. Samantha, I appreciate you. Take care. All right. What can I talk about today? What would somebody ask me? Actually, somebody on Instagram asked me something. And I think I've decided, instead of just it being all the way an informal chat, I am going to put some structure around it for the rest of the days. Because I really do want to make sure that I give you all what you want. So today I'm going to focus on presence, confidence. Let's see. Washington Luxury, Samantha Sidimpi. Anyway, man, some of the names on here, you guys, is challenging. Yes. So this is back when I was in the Marine Corps. So I'd already been a police officer. Well, I'd already gone into the Army Reserves. I'd already been a police officer. And at this point, I am a Marine, and I'm at Quantico. So I haven't gone to flight school yet. I believe I'd already gone to flight school, and I was there for my headquarters tour. And it was Friends and Family Day. I parked my motorcycle. I was going to meet a friend, and Friends and Family Day is in this huge field where it's the track stadium, but there's like this like double soccer field before you get to the track and stadium. So I parked my motorcycle on the street. I had to walk across the fields where the soccer would have been played over to the track and the stadium seating and all that stuff, right? And I get off my motorcycle, grab my helmet. I'm walking. I finally see my friend where she is. Somebody else is standing with her. I get there. Hey, Nisi, what's up? I get there and I give my friend a hug. And the other woman is like, man, I saw you get off your motorcycle and you were walking across the field. And I was like, man, who is that? Just the way you were walking across the field. I knew you were somebody. And I said, really? And to me, I was just walking across the field. And I remember that like it was yesterday, but what I really got from her saying that, and I think of it often when I'm talking to speakers about presence or executives about presence, how you walk into the room, right? And honestly, I was talking to my mentor, well, one of them, and I remember saying we were talking about presence and confidence. And I said, well, I know when I walk into a room, I absolutely belong in the room. She said, no, you don't. I was like, I don't. I'm thinking, does she know something I don't know? She said, you don't belong in the room. You own the room. I was like, ah. It's like, that is a good one. That is a good one. When you walk into the room, not only do you know you belong in the room, do you own the room? Like, is that room yours? Do you know when you walk in, you already know who you are in that moment? When I walk on that stage, when I run up those stairs, or when I run out to the crowd, I own that stage. And I call that command presence. We call that in the military command presence. When I would have to get up and speak in front of the generals, like I couldn't just, well, right? I had to own who I was in that moment and my energy, because I'm getting ready to share something with people that they have to believe me. They have to have confidence in whatever plan or presentation I'm sharing with them. If I'm giving generals a briefing and I'm sharing all the numbers, I need to be confident in the information that I'm sharing with them. So one of the reasons that I know people are nervous when they walk up on stage or when they get up in front of their team to present is the preparation factor, right? And I'm not saying because there are some people that are prepared to the hilt and they're still nervous, right? But this is one of the main things. And I know if I feel nervous, the only reason I might feel nervous is actually it's two things: preparation, and I'm worried about what people are going to think about what I'm getting ready to say, or how am I going to perform, or how do I look, or how am I it's all about me in the moment, right? It's all about me. And when you're in service, it's about the people you're speaking to. Every time before I go out on stage, I always say an affirmation of, give me the words that they need to hear, not what I want to say. And that's huge, right? The words that my audience needs to hear, not what I want to say. I want to be fully in service to my audience. Naomi Rhodey, who is an icon in the speaking world in the National Speakers Association, her slogan for her year, her motto, her theme was the privilege of the platform. Like, I'm not coming up there saying, dun, 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 this is what I have to impart on you. This is my knowledge. It's thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my perspective with you. And in this moment, we both get to learn something, right? So when I think about stepping on that platform every time, it's what do they need to hear? And it is a privilege for them to have me in that moment. Or it's a privilege for me to be there in that moment. Because think about it, when an organization brings in a speaker, they're bringing you in, if they're bringing me in, whoever, right? And they are paying us, say the keynote fee is $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000. It's not about the keynote fee, right? It's not about the keynote fee. It's about the time. Let's say they have 100 people in the audience, 500 people in the audience, 1,000 people in the audience. Think of all the man hours that are going into that 1 hour being there with me. Travel to be there if it's an in-person event, time in the venue, hotel, and I'm just one of the speakers, right? My keynote fee is nothing compared to the productivity hours that have just been invested. So when you're up there, what does that organization need to hear that is going to help them make money, or save time? That's it. That's what a meeting planner and a decision maker really wants to know. I'm going to move this over here so I get to look at them both at the same time. Oh, yeah, that's good. A decision maker wants to know, how are you going to help me make money, or save time, right? So how does your message get through not just their mentality, but also their heart? And do you have the confidence to know that you know that you know that you have the power to engage, to cut through the noise, right? I'll be honest, when in the beginning, when I was speaking, people would come up to me afterwards and say, "Oh my God, I love the story about your dad or your grandfather, or your this or that." And I was thinking, I don't want to hear about that. I want to know, how are you going to be more productive when you go back to work? How are you going to lead different? Blah, 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 right? And what I finally got, and it took me a little bit, but what I finally got is, when you can reach someone in here, you can reach them here. Because we're all people first, we're all human first, we're all human beings on this planet we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. So when you can reach someone in here, it's automatically going to impact how they show up in the world. So how are you showing up in that moment for them? Confidence is everything. And I'm actually going to do a session that is focused just on the psychology of presence itself, right? And I'm excited to talk about that. It'll actually be probably over a couple of sessions. Another session that I will be talking about over the next 11 days, because we're just getting started. Honestly, I was just getting the tech together. I'll be perfectly honest with you. If you saw the first night, you probably would have been mortified. I know I was. I was thinking, I was in a different room and it was lighting. I decided to go at 8:00 at night, and I was like, okay, my people are not on at 8:00 at night. My people are on at 12, 1:00. They're on during working hours. They're entrepreneurs, they're executives. When they get home, they're mom and dad and doing the family thing, more than likely, because I knew I'm usually doing the family thing, but now I was doing this virtual, right? So I moved the time to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day. Yes, even Saturdays and Sundays. That's why we're here. So I've been working to get out my kinks, my glitches, and I'll be working on it the whole time. And I'm sure by day 14, it's going to look way different and feel way different on the inside for me than it does right now, especially than it did on day one, right? It's just putting in the reps, putting in the reps, putting in the reps, putting in the reps. If I'd gone into combat as a brand new pilot who had only flown 5 practice missions, that feels very different than a pilot who's flown hundreds of missions and flown in combat. You're a totally different person. Like, think about football season or basketball season when you're seeing your favorite team play. Or let's say you don't have a favorite team. Let's just say you're watching games, right? In the beginning of the season, those teams are going to look completely different from how they're going to look by the time they get to the playoffs. They're tight. They've been working with each other the whole season. It's literally a different team showing up. That's just like speaking on stage or speaking in front of your team, or as an executive making that pitch for capital, or in front of the angel investors or the private equity. Seeing a band, right? The beginning of the tour, they are completely different at the end of the tour. It is so tight. Everybody knows everything. Boom, boom, boom. And when you hear that band, right? Uh, and they do the solo or the drums or the this or the keyboard, and they hit those licks. I'm in the jazz. I don't know if you all know that, but I played flute in junior high, and I played trombone in high school, played trombone in college. I was in the Memphis Youth Symphony Orchestra, jazz band, marching band in college and high school. So yes, I am one of those band nerds and geeks. And the band in the beginning of the season is completely different than at the end of the season. So I'll be honest with you. I hate failing. I hate looking bad. It kills me. And we have to be willing to go through the ugly to get to the good. Les Brown, one of my mentors, he said, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing ugly. And even at the place I am in now in my business with technology, AI, all the platforms, right? We're not going to know it all. And you can't wait to know it before you get started, or you're never going to get started. So no matter where your confidence is in front of that camera, on that stage, you got to get started. When I first started playing golf, and I'll end with this, when I first started playing golf, and actually, if you have any questions and you want to talk about something, go just put call in the comments on Instagram and Facebook. If you're on LinkedIn and you're watching this at a certain point, just send me a private message or put call in the messages here in the comments, and I will actually just DM me, private message me, and I'll get you the link that sends you to a page where you can fill out a form, put in your number, and I will personally give you a call, and we'll talk about that one question. And by the time you get off the call, you will absolutely have a breakthrough, right? So no matter what we talk about, you're going to have a breakthrough, period, end of story, no matter what your question is. So I wanted to play golf. I loved it, but I was horrible. And I'd been working in my business, speaking, getting on stages. And at a certain point, I realized that I was going places, I was speaking, I was going home, I was traveling here, I was going there, and I wasn't building any life or fun into it. And I said, well, what do I love to do? I said, well, I love to play golf and I love to snowboard. So golf was going to be my summer sport. Snowboarding was going to be my winter sport. And I bought equipment for both. And for the snowboarding, I made a promise to myself. I had to go to the slopes every single week. This is when I lived in DC. I had to go every single week because I wanted to be one of those. I would see those young, cool people like, coasting down the mountain, doing those S curves, just leaning back and forth. I said, I want to be able to do that. Right. And I said, in order to get this equipment, I had to make a commitment to follow through and get good. Same thing with golf. My goal was to play 25 rounds of golf in a year on business, right? 25 rounds on business. That's a huge goal because I'm not even getting 25 rounds personal. I maybe got 5 or 6 rounds last year, but this was maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And I knew that I wanted to play on business. So I can't go out there, play with the CEO and be horrible. I promise you, I put my stuff on Do Not Disturb, and I do not know why the calls are still coming through. So I got to figure that out. Yeah. That's funny. I'm going to call her after this. And I was like, yo, I was live. But everybody always calls back. They always do those repeat calls to break through. So long story short, I ended up doing some golf intensives, some clinics. I practiced my butt off. I was posting stuff on Instagram. People would come up and say, or actually hit me up and say, do you ever work? And I was like, this is work. Because the first time I got out on that tee and I was hitting from the whites with the guys, and I drove further than they did off the tee, I had bragging rights for the rest of the day. Right? So in the very beginning, I didn't want to hold my buds back. It was so embarrassing to be out there because I would hit and my ball would go over the woods or here or 3 feet in front of me. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to take a bunch of balls with me. If a ball goes off out in the woods, I'm not looking for it. I'm just grabbing another ball. If the ball goes 3 feet in front of me, I'm picking it up and I'm just dropping it where my bud hit way up the fairway. And I didn't hold anybody back. I played with everybody else. It was embarrassing sometimes. But man, when I started getting good, started playing my ball the whole time, it was amazing. It was the best feeling in the world. And I had to be willing to go through the ugly to get to the good. And I mean, was I a pro by the time I finished with the clinics? No, but I was a million times better than I was. And I could keep up with the folks that I wanted to keep up with. And after a minute, they were keeping up with me. And guess what? Do you think my confidence was at a different level? Do you think how I felt when I walked onto that golf course and up to that first tee was different when I started knowing that I had the skill set once I walked onto that golf course? Absolutely. So my question for you is, are you putting in the reps to build your confidence? Are you putting in the reps to have that presence just emanating out of your pores before you even walk into the room? And when you walk into the room, don't belong in the room. Own the room. All right. Until tomorrow. It's asking me for an outro video. I do not have an outro video.